are you still seeing a doctor for ankylosing spondylitis, or has anybody that you in the healthcare system witnessed your improvement and commented, and have you discussed diet with them?
Yeah, I haven't seen my rheumatologist for years. I mean, my back pain's pretty much gone. I don't really see a reason to. I still see my family doctor, and he's usually pretty good at everything. I remember when I first started doing like the ketogenic carnivore diet, I told him about it, and he was very receptive to it. He said, "Oh, that's great." He's like, "I think that's a very sustainable diet. I think it'll work well for you." It was funny at the time. He had a resident with him, and the resident let's just say he didn't look very healthy at all. Wasn't a healthy looking dude, even though he was like probably 25 years old. And when I was saying that, he was just crossing his arms and shaking his head, and he looked like he was upset that I would even think about going on a ketogenic diet, even though I was telling them all the improvements I'd had. It just, for him, he was just like shaking his head at me. So it felt kind of good though,
Yeah, there's a
kind of prove them.
Well, I can tell you as a resident, most residents don't look pretty good because they're worked to death. Although it's better now. Back when I was doing it, we would work 100 hours a week and plus, and you were always tired. So some of that. So what does your diet look like today? So where are you at? I mean, how did it start? You said you started out eating some, that big old steak. How did that progress, and where are you at now?
When I first started, I kind of just slowly cut down my carbs. So over time, I was just doing lower and lower carbs. And then I kind of got to this point where just naturally, I enjoyed eating ruminant meat mostly. So that was part of it was kind of natural transition. And at the same time, I felt like I was getting kind of caught in this keto trap. I think a lot of people do, where, they don't end up changing their relationship with food. So they end up just making the same foods, eating the same foods as they did before, but they're just ketofying it. So, which I think is great for transitioning. I think it's great for a lot of people, but I think it can kind of knock people off the rails all the time. And I didn't really want to get stuck in that, because I noticed I'd be going to Costco, and, they have a huge keto section at Costco now. And most of those things are just processed garbage, or there'll be things where, you can have one or two treats in a day to be under your carb limit. But, most people that are doing this diet or have issues with binge eating, they can't just have one or two things. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really want to get caught in that trap anymore. So I just, doing more research over time, I thought I would do a lot better for my autoimmune issues and everything if I just went to a carnivore diet, do the ultimate elimination diet.
Yeah, when I go to Costco, I often laugh when I see all the keto clusters and keto treats and keto chocolate candies or something like that. And it's just like, and you're probably right. Most of those people that eat them can't eat them in moderation. That's the whole reason they're supposed to cut them out in the first place. So, you switch over to carnivore. It's easier. It's simpler. You cut out all the garbage. So are you still one meal a day? Is that typically what you do, or how do you typically do it?
Yeah. During the weekdays, I generally eat one meal a day, and it's just, most of the time it's just beef. It's either steak, ground beef, or beef fat. I eat a lot of beef fat, which some people think is weird, but, so lots of that. I eat one meal a day just because I find that I do better mentally and physically when I'm fasted throughout the day. But that being said, I can't eat too close to bed because I can cause some sleep disruptions. I know there's some evidence that suggests that it can affect your circadian rhythms if you're eating too late in the day. So I have to be a little bit careful with that. But generally, I'm eating 2 to 3 pounds of meat. And on the weekends, I'll often eat 2 meals a day, and I'll eat upwards of 6 pounds of meat a day. And sometimes, like with my carnivore doctor friend or my best friend, we'll go to this place in Edmonton called Pampa Brazilian Steakhouse, and it's amazing because it's you can go there and you can sit there and eat as much as you want. And every time we go in there, they get to lose money on us because we eat more than we're paying. But so that's basically the way I eat most of the time. I mean, I do go through phases where I'll eat a lot of eggs. I'll eat a lot of eggs, mix some dairy in and everything like that. And I tried the organ thing. The organ thing I didn't really notice any difference at all, to be honest. I tried doing it every once in a while. I'll still have some. It's no big deal, but I just don't notice any improvements. Another thing I do, which a lot of the carnivore people might get upset over, I might go through small periods where I add in a bit of fruit as well. So a lot of the times I'll eat maybe carnivore for 6 to 8 weeks, very strict. And then sometimes maybe that's through oxalate dumping or electrolyte issues, I might start feeling a little off. So maybe just for a week or two, I add in a little bit of fruit. And then 2 weeks later, I'll go back to strict carnivore, and I feel great every time I do that.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know that's upsetting to too many people. It shouldn't be. You do what ultimately works for you. You said 6 pounds, so that's on the weekend. But during the weekday, it's what? It's not 6 pounds every day, is it? What is it?
No, usually 2 to 3 during the weekdays.
3, yeah. So kind of 2,500, 3,000 calories. What do you mind sharing your dimensions? How tall and how much do you weigh? How tall are you?
Anyways, I'm 6'2", and right now I'm 180 pounds.
180 pounds, so pretty normal size. And how's your ability? Are you still doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I actually just 5 months ago, I got back in jiu-jitsu for the first time in 6 years. So I'm the world's longest blue belt, but it's actually been, even coming back with my first couple of weeks, I actually felt better than I ever have. I feel like every day, every time I train, my jiu-jitsu gets better and better. It's hard for me to get tired. Everything makes more sense to me. I can understand the techniques better. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start competing again soon because I just feel so good doing it now.
Yeah. And so no struggle with, the rolling and that type of stuff as far as not having carbs in the diet when you're doing that.
No, I can do like an hour-long squat workout and then go to jiu-jitsu and roll for half an hour and feel completely fine. I don't get tired at all. I go home and wake up and I'm not sore, and I can do it again the next day, no problem.
What, are you, so you mentioned when you're in Alberta, they've got, we've got different sources of beef there. Grass-finished beef, they've got, obviously there's a grain-finished beef. I think barley is typically used up in Alberta. What do you preference with your meat source?
For me, I generally buy grain-fed meat. I buy it from a local butcher that gets it from local farms. I tried doing the grass-fed thing, and I didn't really notice any difference, except for I had a lot less money to spend on other things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of an issue when a lot of people start carnivore with, like, a lot of the influencers. They'll push, you can only eat grass-fed meat. You have to eat grass-fed meat. It's the most important thing to do. And I think that kind of does a disservice to a lot of people, and it's not really that helpful because people they start thinking, I can't be healthy unless I eat all this grass-fed meat. So they end up spending a lot of money on it and feeling stressed over their finances with it. And I just don't think that's a very helpful way to go. So for me, I just feel just fine doing grain-fed meats, but I make sure it's local.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people find that similarly. You don't need to do grass-finished to get the benefits of a carnivore diet for most people, I would say. As far as, are you focusing on getting a certain amount of protein? Are you very high fat, or what is your approach been?
I kind of go through different things. I mean, generally, I like to eat fattier meats and like fattier ground beef and everything. Like if I get 2 to 3 pounds of meat a day, it depends on what it is. Sometimes it'll be medium ground beef. Sometimes it'll be lean ground beef. Sometimes it'll be ribeyes. I don't really focus on macros specifically. I just kind of eat until I'm full. So I don't really think into it too much. I just like to keep it as simple as I can for myself.